Okay, this is the first part, but the second part was filmed first, funnily enough. This is the physical layouts, because I didn't get time to review that. So we're doing that first, which means you actually get to see the ports first, but then again in the second part. How cool is that? I can see into the future, and you can't, thanks to the magic of cat digital editing. Okay, crazy mode over. First thing we have to notice is its shape. It's certainly got an interesting shape. This particular one is also made in Taiwan, and also made in the 14th of the 3rd, 89. That's the 14th of March. Not that far off, the same month as my birthday. Now, annoyingly, they put the port, God, you can just about see it, the ports for the joystick and the mouse under there, which if you use it like I do, is an absolute pain in the arse. And plus, if you boot it up with the joystick, you get a horrible hum when the joystick's plugged in. The keyboard has some sort of rubber membrane underneath and feels okay. It feels a bit cheap, but it's not a horrible keyboard to use. Not like that other thing I had, or still have. It's in the garage now, and that's just like a modern Toshiba. Well, modern-ish. These, I haven't found what these actually do yet. They don't seem to do anything, even when the software labels it. You've got your power LED down here, I was going to say hard drive LED, but it's actually a floppy LED there. This thing does not have a built-in hard. It's nice that it's got the add-on of a numeric keypad and arrow keys, but why don't the bloody games have keyboard playable options and actually use the arrow keys? I do not know. That's programmers for you. The design of it is actually quite nice, although it is on the bit big and heavy side. The postage on them is quite expensive for eBay. It'll be minimum of a tenner. Now to go run you through the ports first. Well, we can see I'll turn it upside down so the light shines in on them more. We've got your MIDI music ports for those musically inclined out there, and cartridge to what you can add in various little things. I've got a little, like, what are they called? I've got some music software which came with this module that allows you to sample music. It has a special name, but it's probably music terminology and I know nothing about. Why did I get the software? So I can do the remix of Turrican. I'll create my own tune. Trouble is, it does it all from musical notes, and I don't understand what the hell they mean. You have your floppy drive. This particular one is a double density, probably 720 kilobytes would be my guess. At the back here, you then got your modem socket. Bearing in mind this is 1989, the internet doesn't exist yet, so that would be obviously used for networking them over a WAN. Your printer port for printing. Your hard drive port for linking up a hard drive. I would really love to get a hard drive for this. It would be so useful. Your floppy drive port for plugging in an external floppy drive. When I get the power cables and the interface cables, I shall use my external floppy drive. Your TV RF, which is the only method I have at the moment until I can hack a cable up for that, which is your modulator output. The digital TV picks it up far better than the Electron ones and Commodore ones. The Commodore and Electron ones are just like fuzzy, blurry kind of crap. You see it, look at my Electron game reviews, you'll see it's just like static. But when you put it in a normal TV, aka analog, one I grew up with, it looks crystal clear. I put that down to crap tuner in the television. Monitor port, I could do with a monitor, but where the hell would I bloody put it? Your power switch, which is pretty obvious what that does, I do not need to explain. Your kettle lead power socket, 240 volts, mains 50 Hz frequency, 13 amp input, because that's just standard in the UK. US it'll be 110 volts. Australia they use 240 volts. I think they use a higher current range, I don't know. Most places around Europe use 240 volts, 13 amp. I do travel abroad. And then you got your reset switch, which is integrated right into the power supply circuit board. I would love to show you inside this thing, but, well, getting the motherboard exposed requires more work than I'm willing to put in. So you can just look at the vents and imagine what the motherboard looks like. Find some pictures on Google, there'll be millions of them. I won't go downloading them because of crappy copyright, because someone will go complaining about it, they always do. That pretty much covers the ST layout. It's got quite a nice layout. It's got a keyboard that's okay, it's usable, it's not horrid, it's not great. Other than that, it's a fantastic machine. I'd highly recommend getting one because they are brilliant. You've seen the Turrican. I need say no more. Thanks for watching part 1. Part 2 shall continue straight after this. It's easier to integrate videos together. Thanks for watching. Part 2 coming up. Hello and welcome to the Prom 9. Today is a system review. I won't put my head in the way because that will defocus the camera. Yeah, the built-in wide-angle lens isn't quite big enough to capture everything I want in shot, which is a telly as well, because it's running the OS. So here we have the Atari ST, as it's more generically known. Although several models of these did come out, they really only offered minor enhancements over each other, from adding in floppy drives to increasing RAM, that kind of stuff. The CPUs more or less remained untouched, and general basic logic. So we have the ST with my Electronics for Dummies book as a mouse mat. Trust me, this covers the base. This covers it from the bare basics. Even though I do more advanced stuff, I don't know all of the basics, so I've got a book with all the basics in. Yeah, that's the trouble when you teach yourself. You kind of end up with huge gaps in your knowledge, so books like this help fill that knowledge. Anyway, back to the ST rather than my electronics. So the ST originally came out in 1985, undercutting the release date of the Commodore Amiga. Before all that, or during these machines' development, the Atari leader moved to Commodore and the Commodore leader moved to Atari. Commodore sacked the Atari staff. The Commodore staff left because they didn't like the new management, and the Commodore staff went to Atari and the Atari staff went to Commodore. So essentially what we've got here is a Commodore machine, not Atari. It's only the fact that all what really changed between the companies was the logo. Is essentially, if that hadn't have happened, would have probably ended up with the exact same machines, just only this labelled Commodore Amiga and the ST and the Amiga labelled Atari ST or something like that. Now the Atari ST is actually quite a capable machine, and we shall provide system specs first without taking the camera out because it's expensive and we don't want to break expensive equipment. Now I've got the specifications. So it's got a CPU Motorola 68000 running at M8 M8Z. They're actually 16-bit CPUs, but they do have 32-bit externals, which goes with the ST's name. The S for 16-bit and the T for 32-bit, which is where its name comes from. The resolution going up to a max resolution of 640 by 400, which is all in monochrome. And it also supports a 4-colour mode at 640 by 200 and standard low resolution mode, which gives you 16 colour, I know it says on here, but it's actually a palette of 512 colours. Is 320 by 200 resolution, so that would be what it's probably running on my television. Sound is a Yamaha or whatever that is, probably Japanese mate because of the weird name. YM2149 3-voice square wave plus 1-voice white noise mono programmable sound generator. Any sound buffs will know what the fuck that means, but I don't. Now, my particular model has a double density disk drive built in. It helps considering I have no cables for my external disk outside, which goes to something like 720 kilobytes or something like that. Either way, the Windows, at least Windows XP can, I haven't tested 7, can read the double density disk. Don't blank laptop. This one has several ports which I'll go over, and that's that. Another thing I'd like to highlight is my particular model. I believe it's the 512 kilobyte model over the 1 meg model, but I can't honestly put it down. My particular model is the 520 ST FM, which you can probably see already and read it ages ago, but I'll state it out anyway. These are quite capable machines and quite excellent actually. They do the CPU and raw processing runs faster than an Amiga, but the graphics and sound aren't quite as good. So these are better for more raw processing applications than Amigas, and Amiga's better for things like games. Now this particular model has everything oh god, I've knocked it out of alignment, yes I have, oh god, my bloody clumsiness. Now this particular ring is brilliant. So we've got our mouse mat here because I'm going to show you the OS when it does stuff that I want it to. So what we have is we're going to go over the ports now. The only thing is, even though the OS is on ROM in this, it takes a while to boot. I put that down to, for some weird reason in the ROM, it has to try and access a floppy drive to boot 1,000 times, not just once, like any normal machine. It's a bit of a pain in the arse really, because it takes so long to boot. So we zoom out. We don't have much time left, so we've got to be quick. Quick is something I don't. So what we have here is this. Oh god, just take out the camera again. Oh god. I'm just going to do it like this because it's easier. So what we have here is power, which is nice kettle lead input. Shut up. Stupid beeping. Reset button there. Oh god. Well, you're going to have to put up with the beeping if you can hear it. Power switch. This is your monitor, which can support colour or monochrome, whatever you have. I don't have a monitor. Your TV output, which is just standard RF, and well, RF is rubbish on a digital TV. Your floppy drive port, your hard disk drive port, your printer port, and modem connector. This side we have the cartridge port and the MIDI music ports for music production, as people like Fatboy Slim and music studios still use these machines. Good on them. Keeping retro computing alive. This side just has your floppy drive on it where the Turrican disk regularly enters. And the bottom here, due to lack of space elsewhere, the joystick and mouse ports end up down here. An absolute terrible choice for placement if you ask me, and is known to wear out. But I can understand why they put them here, although I'd rather try to fit them in there if it had been me designing it, but that's not the way it goes. I'd have had to have been born quite a few years before when I was actually born. Now we're going to go to the OS and try and cover that recently, as a review isn't a full review without covering everything. This thing zooms so fast when it's in the video mode. Okay, so I got a view, and we have 2 minutes to cover this in. So we're going to have a look. Now the OS is pretty much useless unless you actually have any form. Oh come on, activate options. Why isn't it responding to the mouse click? God damn you! Urgh! Always the way. Oh, then it just disappears. Brilliant. Sometimes it responds to the mouse, sometimes it doesn't. This thing can be a bit unpredictable. But you can't really do anything unless you have any software on the machine. I've had real troubles with mice for this thing. Real troubles. The trouble is, unlike the Amiga, there is actually stuff on the OS. On the OS, there is just the OS and only the OS. Known as TOS, which stands for the Operating System. Yes, I know, very imaginative. It's reaming with imagination. I'm sure someone else couldn't have come up with something better. That's sarcasm, in case you don't understand sarcasm. And of course, that's the OS basically. Unless you have software for it, you can't really do anything with the computer except have your TV displaying that and set the options which you're never going to use because you can't use them. It's nice that you've got drop down lists and all that crap, whereas a computer without drop down lists. So, in concluding things, because we've only got like half a minute, on conclusions is, while the Amiga certainly has better OS that allows you to do stuff without any software, you can't really. It is still a decent machine and well worth having in a collection, because it is still very capable, especially if you're into music production. You want one of these because it's got the dedicated sound hardware. Now time's about to run out, so I'm going to finish off here. So Atari 520, ST, FM or any of the ST series, highly recommended because they are fantastic.